For Off the Block, I'm Vinny Lopes, and we are now joined by George Mason head coach Jay Hosack. But for the summer, at least for a couple weeks, he's taking off his George Mason hat and will be putting on his Team USA hat as he will be coaching the U.S. men's junior national team. And Jay, the training roster just came out, 19 players. Can you just take us through the selection process of what you had to go through to determine this training team roster?
Well, it's always difficult when you're dealing with the U21 team. You've got a few kids that are in their last throes of their senior year in high school and playing club with friends that they play with for a couple of years already, and maybe their club teams are pretty good. And so, the roster that you see now is a pretty darn good roster. We're missing some of the bigger names that have been on the USA Youth National roster team from years past. Most notably Micah Maha and TJ DeFalco, and there's a couple others that are sprinkled out that just would rather stay with their club teams, and there's nothing you can do about that. You can't force a kid to want to play for USA. You would like to think that the name USA on your back means a lot, and they would feel honored and would want to be a part of that. But sometimes being a kid is just that much more important, and we can't fault them for that. So we picked out kids that we thought would be a good mix together, and we're happy with the list that we've got. And there's going to be some whittling down after the first few days, and then we'll get after it up in Canada.
Yeah, and I want to ask, is there a player or two who you're excited to see in the gym in person?
I'm really interested in seeing Josh Tuaniga, the setter from Long Beach State. I think he's going to be a lot of fun to work with. He's got some good placement. He runs a nice tempo offense. I like Joe Worsley from Hawaii. I'd like to see what Colin Mahan can do from Loyola. And there's a kid named Cal Mendy who is going out for the opposite position against Kyle Ensing. Cal Mendy is a 6'11" lefty opposite who redshirted this year at Penn State, but you can't coach 6'11" and you can't coach a lefty opposite. So we're just excited about the group. I didn't necessarily pick what I thought were the best players as opposed to kids that I think are going to be the best team, and those are the kids that when we go up to the training center for the next few weeks, we'll start to break all that down and see who plays well together.
Now, in addition to your training session, you're preparing for the NORCECA Continental Championships, which are coming up in about a month from now, actually. Automatic bid to the World Championship on the line. And, with that being said, it's such a short time for you to get this team to gel together. What do you have to do as a coach to just try to get them gelling so everything's running pretty smoothly by the time you get ready for that NORCECA tournament?
Well, fortunately, I've been a part of a number of USA programs over the years, both long-term and short-term. Being an assistant for the junior team for the last couple of cycles, and Pete Hansen and Dan Friend, we've been a part of this process now and understand that you're not really recreating the wheel. What we're really trying to do is find out the kids that work the hardest, are the best teammates, and complement each other when they're on the court and off the court. And it's not fun to have to cut anybody. You want people to be able to be a part of it when they really want to be. But the reality is that this is the best of the best of that age group, and those kids they're going to get after it. And we're excited that the NORCECA year, albeit some people might think it's an easier time. The pressure is really on us because we've been so successful over the past dozen years or so, and we'd like to be able to continue that tradition of being a team that's on top at the end and earning that bid to the World Championship. So there's goals in front of us, and guys will work hard, and my staff is awesome, and I think when it's all said and done, we're going to be pretty happy with the end product.
And you look at the names on the roster. I know that you talked about kind of the team and you're assembling, but beyond the names, you also look at some of the colleges. More than 10 colleges are going to be representing in your gym. And what do you think that says about just kind of the state of college men's volleyball right now, that it's not necessarily one or two teams dominating this roster, it's a big collection of teams?
That's a really great point, Vinny. I think that says a few things. One is it says that volleyball and boys volleyball in general is really becoming more of a countrywide sport. There are kids represented from a lot of different areas across the map. It's not just all the hotbed of the usual Southern California and some Midwest Chicago kids. There's kids from all over the map, and that's good. I think it also says that the coaching that's going on at the collegiate and club levels across the country is getting better. These kids, when you used to have just a few club teams that produced these guys, they were getting good coaching because those coaches were usually college coaches in that area. And now what you're seeing is that there are kids coming from all over that are getting good club coaching at a young age, which is preparing them for the next level. And then some of these guys who are freshmen, there's good collegiate coaching going on all across the board. And so I'm excited that we get a chance to have a lot more locales represented on this roster. And it's fun to be a part of for sure.
Yeah. And I do want to ask you, because we kind of talked about the roles that you have. You're obviously, in this USA position, but you also coach George Mason. And I just want to know, having that dual role, was there a part of you that kind of wanted to get a George Mason player on this roster just because you see them in the gym and maybe you want to get them that experience? Was that at all a thought process, or was that a challenge not to put a George Mason player on the roster?
Well, I think when you change hats, you have to remember who you're representing, and I think obviously with the George Mason hat on, of course I would love kids to be able to get that experience. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to come back and be, the next All-American top pick, but the experience is really a great thing to possess when you come back into your collegiate gym. On the other hand, and the reality is when you put your USA hat on, you want to represent the best way that you can for USA. You can't play favorites, and a lot of coaches over the years have done just that. They of course see kids from their gyms in the tryouts, and of course they're looking at them with different eyes than the rest of the coaches. But the reality is, none of those coaches that I've ever worked for, and none of the coaches that I've ever heard of, are playing favorites, and that's a good thing. That gives every kid a chance legitimately to walk into that gym and no position is sold already, and that's a special thing to be a part of.
Yeah. All right, Coach, and final question. We'll let you go on this. You're not coaching this team by yourself. You have a pretty good set of assistant coaches. Can you just talk about the process that you went through to name your coaching staff?
USA has a bunch of guys that have been working in the pipeline for a long time, so this was not necessarily my own hand-picked staff. I get a group of names that are presented to me saying, hey, here are some guys that have worked hard through the years to the pipeline and we'd like to recommend. And, Jonah Carson and Matt McCarthy were two guys that I've worked with before. Jonah Carson I've known now for, it has to be going on almost 20 years, and he's a real hard worker, knows the game inside and out. His name, when I heard it, was the first one that I said, absolutely, I want to be with him. Matt McCarthy, assistant at Lewis University, he's got a great playing resume. He's played pro. He does a lot of beach. He sees things from a different perspective, and we need that. Sometimes when you get coaches that are all part of the same philosophy, it becomes a little bit muddy when you're looking at players, and so I like to have somebody with a different perspective come in and give us some, what their ideas are and thoughts are. And Virginia, our statistician, she works at ECU. She's worked with UCLA, and I think she's done some USA stuff. She came recommended extremely highly, and she's already getting on top of all of the data sheets and worksheets for us, and just getting ready to hit the ground running when we get up there, because we really don't have a lot of time to evaluate these kids and spend a good chunk of time really figuring out things. We've got to get at it pretty fast. So I like my staff a lot, and I know they're going to work hard for USA, and I know they're going to work hard for each other, and it'll be a lot of fun at the same time.
All right, so with that being said, I'm going to assume that Spara, Karch, and Pav all turned you down when you offered them the assistant jobs?
I did not call all three of them. I probably should have in my better judgment, but no, I think they're busy with other facets of life. I'm sure Spara would love to be a part of it, but he might have a couple of bigger things on his plate right now he needs to worry about.